Do you feel like your designs are falling short, not adding the value you envisioned, or that the creative process is a little bit chaotic? Guess what? You're not alone. We've all been there. Designing requires a lot of skills, so it's common for you to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're new to the role. But don't worry. In this video, I'm going to share 3 game-changing mindset shifts that completely transformed the way I design and made me a better professional. Let's dive in. Number 1, focus on functionality over aesthetics. I'm not saying aesthetics are not important. Of course they are. However, before trying to figure it out, the vibe you want your project to have, or picking the trend you want to follow, ask, what's the goal behind this product or feature that I'm bringing to life? If you're designing a web page, what are you trying to communicate to the users? And also, what actions do you expect them to perform? This will work as your North Star, guiding you to the right direction, because only visual appealing designs with no quality on what needs to be done or the message you're trying to get across hardly will last in the long term. A power example of this concept is Amazon. Despite its extremely simple design, they revolutionized online shopping by introducing the one-click ordering feature. They strategically focused on guiding the user towards the desired action, which was making a purchase, and let that guide the web design, not the other way around. I've included an article about this in the description if you want to know more. To help me ensure functionality is covered, what I like to do is to grab the iPad and start drawing the structure of the interface that I'll be designing before hopping to Figma. You can do that on a piece of paper or write on Figma. You just choose what's best for you. Mindset shift number 2, question your assumptions. An important trait a designer should have is empathy, which is the ability to understand and share feelings of another person. Basically, being able to put yourself in their shoes. For this, we often take the time to really get to know the users, to understand their pain points. So whenever we need to make decisions, they're informed. That's not only awesome, but super advisable. However, you may get to a point where you feel that you know the user so much, that you're so familiar with the industry, that you may start assuming things. You may think that the message is clear enough, that this path is best to follow than the other one, and that may lead you to making mistakes in the decision making. That was something that happened to me in the past because I was so involved in the industry with the product that I felt that the user would feel the same way that I was feeling. But that's not true. We need to remember that we are doing the behind the scenes. So we're able to fill a lot of the gaps that when the user is getting to know the product for the first time may not know. To address this, it's crucial to make a habit of questioning our assumptions and testing. My preferred and quickest method for this is to use tools like Maze or UserZoom to test designs and validate them before going on production. The third and last mindset shift is to do it right from the start or as early as you can. Especially when starting a project, you may get carried away with all the possibilities and all the work you have ahead of you. You aim to determine the user flows, how to structure the interfaces, and so much more. However, a mindset shift that really helped me improve my design process, making it faster and more organized, was to set the table early on. That is, setting up the design system that I'm going to use along the way. By this, I mean creating your variables for each mode, your color tokens, your font sizes and styles, and also creating your first components. Of course, you're not going to be able to set up your entire design system if you're just getting started with the project. But what I like to do is to take some time when I'm about 10 to 20% complete to have my first components, to have my first version of the design system in place. And of course, as you make progress on the project, your design system will also make progress. Previously, I would go through my design process, going to research, to high fidelity interfaces, but not taking this time to set up the system. As a result, I ended up having to circle back and adjust things one by one. Very tedious and repetitive work that would be solved if I had taken the time to set up my variables, setting up my system. An example is if you don't make the footer of the website a component. So if later down the road, you end up having to add extra pages, you're going to have to go to each screen to make the adjustment. And you don't want that. Designing products is so much more than putting rectangles on a screen. It requires critical thinking for assertive decision making. By focusing on functionality, questioning your assumptions, and also setting up the system to help you, I'm positive that delivering high quality designs will become way easier. If you want to know more about the design tools that I mentioned, you may want to check out this video where I list my entire design toolkit. I'll see you on the next one. Happy designing!